From bare rocks to a full level in 5 minutes. Procedural Vegetation and Xplacer in Unreal Engine. Let's go check it out. So here we are in the spare scene that I put together. Before we start placing any of the vegetation, let's talk about the new Procedural Vegetation Editor that is new in 5.7. The way to activate that is you come here to the Edit Plugins, and if you type in Procedural, you should be able to see it at the bottom of the list here. And once you turn it on, you will have to restart the editor. Also, make sure that you also turn on nanite experimental foliage here, nanite foliage, which is still experimental. And then from there, you can come to the Fab Store here and come and find some of these mega plants, they're called. So if you come here to Quixel and type in Quixel, you will find these mega plant trees, and you can add them to your projects. I've done that, so let's just quickly come in here and see how this works. So here, basically, you just right click and come to the foliage tab here, and here in the tab you'll see this Procedural Vegetation. Now you can create a new one or select from the two existing examples here. Let's just create a new one so you can see how this looks. And once you open that up, you have this editor, and you can right click in the editor to add your nodes. Here we'll just add this procedural preset loader, and then here in the drop down you just select one of those trees or vegetations that we downloaded from Fab. So here I'll just choose this greasewood, and from here on you just come to the again right click to the spatial section here and just keep on adding the nodes that will make up the whole graph. So once you do that, and I'm just going to open one that I did, you just continue adding those nodes, and if I come here, you'll end up with something like this. They're all there, the nodes, so you know it's just basically adding them one after the other, and then you'll just end up with your tree or vegetation. And what you can do is basically once you've set this up, you can just change some of these parameters to get a different variation of that tree that you wanted, or that vegetation that you want. Here on the end, you before actually, I just wanted to show you that you can actually hit Control L, which locks the last node, in which case you can come back to the other nodes here and change their values so you can see the end result. So if I come back to the end node here, you'll see the most important thing here is the export mesh type. And here you can choose between static mesh and skeletal mesh. Skeletal mesh, of course, is reactive to wind, whereas static mesh is not. And all you have to do is, once you've decided what you want, you can just hit the export key here, and and of course you decide where you want to have that asset exported to, which folder, and then that's all you do. You just hit the export key. It's pretty straightforward. It's very easy to use, and there's a lot of variations that you can get just from playing around with these parameters. So once you do that, you can, as I said, either export it as a static mesh or as a skeletal mesh. If it's a skeletal mesh, then you would need to create a blueprint. For example, just a blueprint actor, come here in the viewport, add an instance skinned mesh from here, from this drop down here. So if you type in skinned mesh, so you would have instant skinned mesh, and then you can just drop that skinned mesh inside this drop area here in the skeletal asset. And you would also need to add the transform provider, which in this case is the wind transform provider. And if you can't see it here in this drop down immediately, you come here to the engine, and if you type in wind transform, you should see it here, in which case you just drag it right in that slot, and that's it. And then you close this window, and then you have your tree, and I'm just dragging it in. The other thing that I have included here is the global foliage actor. Again, if you come here to the engine and type in global foliage actor, you'll see that we have the actor here, and you just drag it into your level, and that allows you to control the wind and the seasons of your tree. So here is the global foliage actor, and here are the parameters. So that's how easy it is to use the procedural foliage editor. And then from here, let's get straight into Xplacer now. So Xplacer allows you to place and scatter actors and blueprints around your levels in sort of very controlled and also randomized way. There's many ways that you could do that, but today I'm just going to focus on two methods to show you how easy it is to do it, and I'm going to also show you some of the new features that have come out in the latest versions. So let's start with these rocks in the background. Now these rocks are just these sort of big meshes that I downloaded from again Fab, but they are really just these big chunks of meshes that I just scaled up and just randomly placed at the background here. So as you can see, it's a very basic setup here. So what I'd like to do is first let's come here to the vegetation in these static meshes. Because they're in the background, I'm not going to use any of these skeletal meshes. You're not going to see the wind breeze their bushes, and I don't feel that it's necessary to use skeletal meshes for these bushes especially. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, because I've exported some that are just static meshes as I showed you before. I'm just going to select these three and just drag them into the drop zone here, and here we have those static meshes in Xplacer, and I'm going to activate the sampler. So if I come down here to the sampler, you can also activate it by holding or by hitting the shortcut Control 5, and that should activate the sampler if you are in Xplacer, which I was not. So here you can see that now we've activated the sampler, and all you have to do is just select a mesh, and then basically that should take care of itself. The reason we're not seeing anything in this case is because the meshes are the scale is quite low, so all we need to do is just increase that scale up so we can see what's happening. So I'm just going to increase the scale a little bit here so we can see, and then here as well. So it's just, yeah, so something like that. So you can see like how easy it is. You just select a mesh and everything is taken care for you. So I'm just going to come here on this one and then just scroll down and just where is our sampler? Here it is. So you can hit commit straight away, or we can play with some of these parameters to change them. There's also the normal filtering, and in the newest version there's also local coordinate normals that you could filter as well as a world. Now before I do that, I want to show you also that one of the newest features in Xplacer and in XDecal Paint is that now you have the ability to save presets. So basically you can come here and say save as in this case save as, and we just can name this to anything we want, right? So shrubs tutorial, and then just hit OK, and then everything is saved, so we don't have to play around with every single little parameter. We can save all these presets, all these collections, everything that we're doing, and all you just have to do is just come select whatever it is. In this case we're sampling on the rocks, but it could be anything else. In the next sort of part of the tutorial I'll show you how we'll be using and saving paths as well. So you can save everything and you can come back and just add different types of assets or actors with the same preset. So that's how I would do it. I just come here, select this mesh, I'd come here and let's say commit, and then we could do the same for this guy as well, and maybe we can turn the density down here, maybe even less again. Wow, so 0.1 maybe, 0.05, So I'm not going to try and get exactly what I want, because I just want to show you how this is done, really, because at this point it's not really necessary. So here I'm just going to commit, and then we'll just go on, and so let me just okay, so that's done. All the rock part has been populated with this sort of nice foliage. As I said, you can play around with some of those parameters if you wanted to get a little different variation, but just for the sake of this tutorial, let's move on, and I want to show you the next part, which is what I'll be using is the region fill. So I'm going to come up here to the region fill. Again, Control 4 if you want to activate region fill. And here you'll see that we've actually been getting the same shrubs that we've been using from the rocks, but I don't want that, and I want to use something that I've saved. This is the elderberry variation. So this is sort of like some low foliage, and I want to increase maybe the size of these guys a little because they seem a little low. And here is a region that has or was saved, and I'm going to show you how you can save that region as well. So here I'm gonna first, maybe I'm gonna start this again. So let's start this again. So let's come here and just add some points to the area that we want to have the vegetation spawn, and just click around, hit C, and as you can see, we've created that region. We can come here and move the points or add points as well. Now you can see that we don't have all the region filled, and that's because we have a preview max points of 2000. So we can either lower our density even more or increase our preview max points. Let's just lower the density a little, and as you can see, those points get evenly distributed in the region that we set. So we can increase that region a little bit more too. So that's enough to finish that off. And what I wanted to show you is that you could save this region. And the way you do that is you come here to the browser here, you right click, and then the miscellaneous, you'll find something called data asset. So once you click that, you get this pop-up, you scroll down, you'll find this Xplacer stroke library, and you select it and you create a data asset for Xplacer data. And then what you can do is you can drag that data asset into the slot here. I'm just going to use the one that I have already here. And once you do that, you can name your region here. So let's call it region fill 01, and then just save that region. And now we've saved this region, this path, so we can come and revisit it without having to redraw anything or recreate anything that we've already done. So basically, together with the presets, you can move very swiftly in creating these biomes or environments or whatever it is that you want to scatter or place your assets inside by using the both the saving of your paths and your region fill together with those collections. So here what I'm going to do now is I'm going to commit, so I'm going to accept those that foliage, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and simply change this to the SKM trees, and I'm going to drag in my my path here, my saved path, and we can find it here in the region fill, and all you have to do is just hit load, and you should be able to see that region. It was loaded in, so that's why it didn't make a difference. But in this case, again, you'll see that we have the same thing where our dots are not filling up all the region. Again, the reason being is that we have the preview dots or points are less than what would be needed to cover the whole region. So we can either come here and put in a smaller number, in which case everything gets covered here. Now, another thing I want you to notice is that, well, there's two things. One is that some of those trees are slanted maybe a little too much. And the reason for that is that if you come here to the placement projection section, you'll see we have something called normal strength. So you can lower the normal strength of those sampled points. So in which case, once you do that, you'll just have the trees correctly aligned. The other thing I want you to notice is that we have less trees than points generated. And the reason for that is that skeletal meshes, which we are using in this case, are quite heavy in the preview mode. So there is a preview section here where it says skeletal preview quality, and you can increase that number and you will get more of those projected, of those trees that are being scattered along that region. Just bear in mind when you increase this level, depending on your system's resources, so that you don't crash the editor. So that's why this is the reason for this skeletal preview quality. But once you hit commit, and we are here in the region, I'm just going to hit commit. You'll see that we get all the trees laid out in that region as we wanted to, and that's how that works. And as you can see, it just becomes very easy to reuse some of these regions and paths, as well as the collections, as I mentioned before. So that's how I got everything done. You saw from just rocks, bare rocks, to a covered level in under 5 minutes. I would say 3 minutes, especially if you have your collection saved and you've done this before. All you have to do is just simply drag your paths, or just load your paths and simply just change whatever collections you have saved. So I hope this was useful. I'll be posting some other videos of some of the other newest features soon. So like and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.